I'm here and looking like a hobo to tell you all about the 5th book in the Heroes of Olympus series, The Blood of Olympus. Finally finished it. Finally finished the series. The 5th book was a pretty quick read. It was different than the other books. Definitely a lot more going on, but I'd say it was less painful as far as what's going on to the characters than the 4th book. Still, nothing can beat spending a whole book in Tartarus. But I liked it, just as I suspected. It wasn't my favorite book in the series. Last books are really hard to get right, to be fair to Rick Riordan. It was a great book. It wasn't the same as Mark of Athena or House of Hades. Those two were my favorites. House of Hades is my all-time favorite. Mark of Athena was pretty close. Just like with the first series, the 3rd and 4th book really carried the heaviest part of the plot and the story, and were just the most exciting to read. As far as the 5th book goes, if you want the details, I would read it first. I don't want to spoil you guys. It's a really good book. It wraps up the series fairly well. I watched Poland Bananas Book's reaction to it, and there's a lot of points of hers that I agree with, but her view of the ending, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's as bad as some other people have viewed it as. It didn't wrap up every single point that I wanted it to wrap up, but it's really hard to do that. So right into the spoiler section, get ready. Jason seeing his mom's spirit in that scene was one of the hardest to watch, because I know we had mentioned her before, but I didn't think that we'd meet her. And even if that wasn't her, really, and it was just kind of trying to play tricks on him, either way it sucked. And either way he's getting that same feeling of just sad that his mom is insane. There's not a lot of scenes that can make me tear up in this series specifically, but the whole last book did. And that scene in this one did. The Olympic Games were really cool when Percy, Leo, Hazel, and Frank were kind of forced to be in them. I know it didn't exactly go as planned, but it was still like equally terrifying and cool. The fact that Leo, of course, is the one, or at least he believes he's the one that's destined to die by the end of the series, by the end of this book, was so frustrating. I feel like they always take like the happy-go-lucky, goofy character that I fall in love with, and he's the one that has to go through the most crap emotionally. It always happens in books. I'm sure that's the point, but I'm still mad about it. My newfound love for Nico D'Angelo just keeps growing. He's an amazing, amazing person, and is literally sacrificing his life over and over again to get the Athena Parthenos to the camp. I mean, he's almost dead, and he just keeps pushing himself, and it's so frustrating, but also so noble, and I can't. Of course, Leo is trying to do the same thing, because he just kind of plans on sacrificing himself for the team at the end. He doesn't really tell anybody, or if he does explain it, they don't tell us. It's sort of just assumed that he's going to take the potion thing that could save their life with him, which suggests that he's 100% positive that he's gonna be the one to die or almost die. That was so hard. The whole book, I was dreading that. And it's like Nike said, one of them has to die. And it feels like the right way to go with a book like this. Like, they can't all survive this much crap. I mean, it was ridiculous that they all survived everything in the last book. But then again, this is technically a children's series, so you can't just like kill people. It'd just be too hard. But I felt like they were really going to do it in this book. They really had me convinced they were really going to do it. So nervous the whole time. I was already going through mourning before we even found out what actually happened to Leo. I really, really liked Percy and Jason's like bad A scene underwater in that sea when they were stuck in that storm and they went underwater to see what the cause was in the Aegean Sea or whatever you call it. They find out that it was that Kim something or other person. Just the way they worked together in that scene was really amazing. It was really more bonding too as far as the characters go, because you don't really see a lot of bonding between Percy and Jason. They're kind of like, Percy's off with Annabeth, Jason's off with like Piper, and it's just kind of, just didn't see a lot of Percy and Jason specifically, and this scene just kind of really developed that really fast, and it was so cool to see how Percy and Jason could use their powers together. Nico using the shadow travel to get the Athena Parthenos to the camp was stressful every time he did it. And then when he saved Reyna, that was so amazing, but so stressful. I just love Nico so much. I just want him to be protected. But he was not in this book. He was very near dead. I liked the scene when Leo, Frank, and Hazel met Apollo and Artemis. I just like Apollo and Artemis, even though they're kind of jerks. They're like also kind of cool to me. I didn't realize until like it actually went down, everything at the end, that the whole point of the Athena Parthenos is to heal the split personalities of the gods. I might just be dumb. That might have just gone right over my head. That was literally the whole point, I think. I was like almost done with the book and I was like, oh, that's what they're going through all this for. That made me feel pretty dumb. And then at the end of this book, we once again get all 7 of them working together to defeat the bad guy. This time it's Gaia, and she is actually awake and actually ready to take over the world, and they all use all their powers together, and the demigods are working with the gods to make sure that she's defeated, and it was so beautiful and so cool. Once again, seeing all that they can do with their powers and how they've developed them. Every single book they develop them more, and being able to use those all at once as a team is so cool. I love Frank. I love Frank's powers. I love Percy and Jason. I love Leo's innovations and how he thinks his way out of problems and stuff. He doesn't really have as much, even though he's got that fire thing going, more of his power comes from his mind, and I just think that's really cool. I genuinely thought he was dead at the end. I really, really thought they were just going to leave us like that, and I was already just like in mourning when that last scene came on and he goes and he gets Calypso, and I just like had kind of put that thought in the back of my head that I wanted him and Calypso together until that scene came on, and then it all came back, all of the emotions that I had about their relationship. I wish we had gotten a little more, maybe him returning and them first seeing him coming home, something like that, because we do get that scene where they're talking about him and Nico mentions that it just doesn't feel right. Like, it doesn't feel like a normal death. And so that clues you in that he may still be alive, but they all seem like they've kind of accepted it. I'm still okay with where it left off. We know he's alive. We know that he and Calypso are going to be together. And that's all I wanted. This is a fantastic book. Highly, highly recommend. Like I say, every time I make one of these videos, you need to read the Percy Jackson series. You need to read the Heroes of Olympus series. And then come back and tell me your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.